It is Charan. It is me.
No, you changed the accent.
What is going on?
Cleaning up for live.
Okay. Can you take your hat off so we can see your COVID hair?
Yeah. My beautiful
Oh!
You got your swole.
yeah. Oh yeah. You wasn't gonna show me up. I thought about it.
Looking like your caramel duddiness.
Oh man.
So, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And thank you for allowing us to give you your flowers.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
And
we promise not to embarrass you too much.
oh, that's what he says. That's not
Oh
me.
no, I'm with the smoke. Hey.
Well,
I've achieved too much. Hey, D.
So he was fixing the
yeah, every time we do
I got that shit up like
the camera review all the way up here. I'm like,
I like when I'm interviewing like this.
It's not cool.
Okay,
real
so,
close.
You are Charan Ingram.
Should we give them the layout of how we came to know Charan Ingram?
Well, that's gonna come in the story.
Let's do it.
That's how it's gonna happen. He's gonna tell it because it'll be far more interesting with him telling the
tell
story. It's not our interview; it's his.
Absolutely.
You are becoming one of the dopest photographers in Chicago.
Yeah.
And we knew you when you were looking at the dopest photographers in Chicago.
Ooh.
So now you're playing with the big leagues now. So all the guys you're looking up to now, you're looking at them side by side. So you're not looking up, they're your peers now.
How does that feel?
How does that feel?
It feels crazy. It's a very interesting feeling. It definitely is a very interesting feeling. Because you start off looking up and now y'all side by side. And by the time you side by side, you don't even really care about it.
Good. So remember when the client would come to you and said, I was looking at you and Ernest Collins and I decided to book with you. Remember those days?
Yes, I do.
You remember how you was like, what's going on?
And respect for the dead, so
Absolutely.
I have to give them that. But how does that feel now?
It really feels like I can do this. That's what it felt like. Like when I started getting other jobs in the city and understood that I was in competition with the other photographers, it felt like, oh, okay, cool, I'm here now. It's actually working. It's cool. But like I said, by the time I got there, I was like, remember, I'm still in discovery mode, learning the stuff, still learning from light as light. Like, oh wow, I can do this. I can do this. And then it's like, pop, pop, pop. You got this job. It's like, oh, that's cool, but back to this knowledge.
So, explain the history of your name.
My name is Charan Ingram. Charan is Indian. It comes from my father's master. My father took a pilgrimage to India for peace, and his yogi name was Maharaja Charan Singh. So he called me Charan.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Not the whole name, but thank God for that little part.
I see your name.
Yeah, he didn't give me the whole line.
And then ended with Ingram.
Yeah,
so tell us about your journey. What made you get into photography?
Yeah. What was the calling?
What did this? Were you an artist as a child?
Oh yeah. Yes, I was. Yes, okay. I was. I was drawing when I was a kid. I mean, I always drew. And I was a graphic designer, actually, too. I was a graphic designer, went to school for graphic design. Can you guys hear that background?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah, I went to school for graphic design, and I was currently at the time, I was working as a creative director. There's a two-part story to this.
Let's hear about
it. Yeah. The first part is I was working as a graphic designer for a magazine called Salonsis Magazine. And at the time, they were commissioning Keith Cephas to create an ad. So I was like, "Listen, I could put the ad together if I had the materials." And I had to talk to him and let him know, "Hey, listen, we need a multicultural set. We need to have a white girl, we need to have a black girl, we need to have an Asian girl. If we can find a Hispanic girl, we need to put them together. It's for a hair campaign called Conversations." So we did this thing, and I wrote this thing out, and he took those photos, and they came out, and it was great. And we had a couple other times we did it, and it was great. And I was just like, Oh, I wonder what happens if I can pick up the camera and do it myself.
Oh, really?
Since it was my idea, you know what I mean? Now, that was pocketed. That had to be around 17, 18 years old. Now, years ahead, what happened was I got into web development, and I was getting into photography, and I hurt my back.
Okay.
So I hurt my back to the point where I can't sit down. It really hurts to sit down. I have 4 herniated discs in my lower spine. Ooh. And I can no longer do web development. If anybody who does web development, you know you sit there for hours, coding for hours. And I, as a graphic designer and a web developer, was like, I'm already walking into photography. It feels real good to stand and walk around and hold the camera. I'm going to take every bit of my creativity and push it in through that lens. And that really began my journey for photography. So
you just went to the store, you went to Best Buy and picked up a camera, then boom, started shooting? Like how did that happen?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool. So as I was directing shoots and telling people to build shoots, I actually got a chance to run into a photographer. I ran into Paris Lewis. Paris Lewis is in Chicago. Once I ran into Paris Lewis, and Paris Lewis seen that I was a graphic designer, and this is the thing that took years. When I say years, from the Keith Cephas to the point where I hurt my back, this is that middle ground. When I met Paris, Paris was like, "Oh, look, I can use you. You can be the graphic designer. I'll do this design. You do this." It was me, another creative. Aerosine was there, and I would go back and forth with Paris. That's where I learned about Nikon. That's where I seen my first set of lights. That's where I got into it all, the whole process of photography, period, looking at it. But I still had it pocketed. It was like I had this information, I really didn't use it. 2006.
We know what that's like.
Keep going. Don't listen to him.
2006 is when my daughter was born, and it was when that was my my cover story for buying equipment. I went to Calumet, and I got like $2,500 worth of lights. I bought my first D70S, and I began to document my daughter's journey on this earth. And then once I hurt my back, it was like all of that was just empowered. Everything else was just maximized. It was like, oh, well, this is what it's going to be then.
And that was it.
No, that's not it. How about this? I wanted to be a photographer because I wanted to take the photos that I seen at Salon Sense at the magazine. When we were at the magazine, it's an African-American company, but what she did was she was like, listen, I want to be like these people. And she would show me Vogue. She would show me Harper's Bazaar. She would show me Elle. She would show me W. And I would go through these pages and I would see certain things. She said, we want to look like this. And I started to take pages out. And she was like, okay, cool. This is cool, but we want to look like this. And this that I was holding up was the photography that I liked. I used to take those pages and cut them out and keep them to myself. It was like porn. I loved it. I loved it. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to do it. When we fast forward to when we met you guys, Dallas gave me my first breakdown of what that was. They called it illegal cable.
Oh, the hair.
The hair. That was like, you don't know hair. Oh, I know hair. Hold on, let me go pull out these pages. Yeah, I want it like this. I want to do this. And that and me understanding that in my journey of photography, I can actually walk into the corridors of my own insecurities and become what I want to be. Is like that just locked me in. Even if I didn't have the back injuries that I have, I would still do this. I would be here 100% full on. Learning.
How did you step to where you are today? Like, what got you here? Because you're looking at these Vogue magazines and all this stuff, and your work wasn't there yet. So what got you here?
Yeah, you.
Well, it started with this man right here. So.
Hey, listen. Hey, look, and then for everybody listening, this ain't a plug. This is a real story. This is real. We keeping it 100. This is what happened. I was online. I was trying to learn how to retouch, and I ran into Praddock. And when I ran into Praddock, I was listening to him. Pratik, excuse me.
Oh, Praddock? Oh.
I destroyed his name. I ran into Pratik. I was one of his cronies that would comment in his things. He had a class. He had broke it down to me. Like, he was like, I even knew the prices. It was like $3,000 to get him to fly in and stuff like that. And I talked to him, and I remember he had pushed me away, kind of hurt my feelings. I was like, yo, I got the money. I'm ready to do this. He was like, yo, let me see your work. And he seen my work, and he was like, you don't really need to get this class. This is for like beginners. He's like, yeah, you're on your way. You know what I'm saying? You don't need the class like that. I got someone creative live to look at. Okay, fine. But in the comments, I started looking at the comments, and I saw a Black photographer. It was Dae. It was Dae. Actually, period, straight up honest, it was a Black person in there. I saw another Black person. So I was like, okay, this was Dae. Hey, Dae, what's going on? I looked through his page and I'm like, oh shit, he's a photographer. Like, he's a photographer. Like, oh look, a Black photographer. And it's like, for me, those were like diamonds or
But you
unicorns.
live in Chicago. There's a lot of Black photographers.
Okay, fine. Now, and if I collect smoke because of this, hey, come fight me. There are a lot of photographers in Chicago. There are only a handful of photographers that shoot how we shoot. A handful. It ain't a lot. And if you say Black photographers, oh boy, yeah, we can put them in the hand. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Everybody doesn't want to shoot with a certain quality. They don't want to have a certain discipline to make their images look a certain way. Everybody don't want to tell a story. Everybody don't want to do that thing. You know, some people do this just for the money. And it's like, when you do that, you cut away and you don't become what you need to become.
Okay.
So
you saw this fool here.
So yeah, I saw this fool right here. I didn't know how to charge for photography. I think when I first started in my apartment, I was at $50 a shoot. You know what I'm saying? By the time I met him, I might have been at a buck 50. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yo, the first poignant piece of information he gave me was, he said, hey, listen." I said, "How much you charge?" He said, "I charge $300." In my head, I'm like, "Okay, look, you're in New York, so that's sure." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Listen, Dae, I'm sorry. I understand you say $300, but I shoot regular people." And he was like, "Regular people got money too." Hey, look, just like that thing.
I remember, the first conversation we had was, you hit me up and you said, "How do you do this lighting?" I said, "Like this."
Oh, yeah.
And you was like,
yeah.
"Why are you giving me that information?" I said, "Because you asked." He was like,
yeah, that was the explosion. I asked Dae a question. He answered my question. And not only did everybody who's in this room, y'all know how Dae is. If you ask him a question, he's going to give you several answers. Hey, look, this is how you do this. And you can do it like this. And you can do it like that.
Yeah.
And if you feel like it, you can do it like this. And I'm just looking like, oh my God. Now in Chicago, when you talk to people, it's like, hey, could you tell me how to do something? And they like, look west and you may find the way. like, what is that? What is that? Yeah, no fortune cookie, straightforward information. I was sold. To be honest with you, Dallas was actually
crazy. He was like, "They don't do this in Chicago." I'm like, "Well, I'm in Brooklyn."
From Chicago.
Yeah. Dallas being there was an accident. It was all day, and it was crazy because every time I asked him a question, he had answers for me.
I remember it.
Okay.
I remember it. I remember talking to Dallas, and I was like, this guy, I kept calling you
Charan.
This is guy
Charan.
Chicago, he's mad cool. He's cool. I'm like, I'm just giving him
Bring
stuff.
your face this way.
I'm just giving him information. So one day we got on the phone. And I was like, "How to say your name?" And he was like,
that's what I said. How do you say? Because you had a bet going on.
"Yeah, we had a bet."
I was like Sharon. He was like Charan.
Charan.
He said Charan. It's like, oh, we both lost. Well, continue. So you met him.
Yes,
good information. So go on.
So I met Dae, and we started talking about photography. I can't remember how we got on the subject of light of light, but when I was introduced to you for about a month, he didn't speak to me.
Yeah, Dallas didn't.
Hey, Dallas, how you doing? Salutations.
My life is greetings. Yes.
Going on. He was always in the back.
Took a while for us to warm up, but I was so green in the world of photography when I met you guys. I was so excited to see you guys because for me, I was like, oh, look, here's two Black photographers that shoot like white people. I was like, oh look, this is how because I seen so few people shooting
I
as
remember
black
that. I remember this
photographers
conversation.
or photographers as color, period. I was like, oh, this is a white thing. This is, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what, and you were the first person to give me that.
I never heard that either.
We're in New York, we don't have that. So he said, you shoot like white people. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
My definition used to be professional button. So
Yeah.
so what do you do that you can press after you shoot and you press a button and it's a professional button. It look professional. So that was my explanation. But you said you said like white people. It was like
that was the beginning to Dallas busting my ass. I'm like, oh look, you shoot like white people. You mean we shoot professionally? I'm like, oh okay, okay, that's what that means. I got it.
Okay.
I just remember us talking every day. Every day. We spoke every single day.
It's almost like that now.
Yeah, we still speak every single day. And I remember you being really, really like you wanted to learn. And I felt like this is dope. Like it wasn't for me at least. Because I remember Dallas kept saying, pay it forward. And I was like, all right, well, I got this dude Charan and he want to learn. So I'm going to just teach him. And I kept telling you, I'm not far from where you are. You was at 150. I had just got to 302. So I'm trying to hurry you up. Like, hurry up.
Yeah, my mind couldn't take that. I went everywhere from they lying to they trying to sabotage me. Like these fools are trying to set me up. Okay, what are you talking about? And you know it's funny. Every time I jump to a certain level, I always felt like that. I felt like, oh look, you're trying to set me up. You're trying to set me up. When I got my first job at Luster, this was right before you guys. I sat down with Paris. I said, Paris, how much should I charge for this? And Paris was like, yeah, it should be at least like $17,000. I stopped talking to him for a year. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, why would you want to do this to me? And then I had the conversation with Dallas. Dallas, you want to take this one and tell them how that first job went?
All I can say was you were at $300. You was at $150.
Hey, before we talk money, the first job you had worked for that company, and you were like, I want to work one day. I want to be able to shoot for this company.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this early on. It was like you did graphic
because
work
as always, I always ask, what do you want your journey to be?
What's your journey to be?
And that was your journey. You said, I want to shoot for companies like this.
And you was like, I did graphics for them one time. I worked with them on these other things. And you were like, I really want to shoot for them. And I'm like, let's do it. Then I remember us constantly telling you on your shoots, it's a hair company, shoot hair, shoot hair, shoot hair, shoot hair. Do this, start shooting hair. And so we started.
But a lot of that changed because he didn't understand what shoot hair means until he came to the workshop.
Yes. And that was after the work. Yeah, because he came to the workshop.
It was the workshop.
Yes.
And that's what changed everything.
And I remember you were very like, all right, is this hair? I'm like, look at the examples. You got to study, Charlie. You got to study.
So let's go back. How did you come to the workshop? How did that change your life with regards to your photography?
Going to Lighters like gave me concepts. It's like, for me, I'm a plug and play person. So I can't just learn by you just telling me something. I can learn by you telling me something, but I learn the best when you show me examples, when we go back and forth, when we're hand to hand. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you had diagrams while you were teaching, that was the best thing in the world. I think the best example that I learned, one of the best diamonds in photography was 6 o'clock to the gods.
Mm-hmm. Understanding the sun, right? 6 o'clock to the sun.
Yeah, yep, 6 o'clock to the, right. In my notebook, I call it the gods. You know what? I call it gods because art is always a reflection of life. And the sun is made by God. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're simulating God. 6 o'clock to the gods. You know what I'm saying? Be the sun. And I learned that in the class. I'm like, and it was so many examples of things like that just kept messing me up. I'm like, oh look, this. I never knew this. I never knew that this is how it was. I mean, and it's funny because like you need like a teacher or a mentor, because even if you have something as powerful as Google, you still need somebody to like guide you, to put you in a certain area. So like case in point, when I said, hey, Dae, I would like to work with them one day, and Dae was like, okay, cool, well, show me examples of hair. I didn't even know what I was looking at. I I was grabbing good pictures, and he was like, "Well, is that hair?" I'm like, "Well, they got hair, so."
I remember that.
Yeah. So So having our daily back and forth, and then going to the class and just empowering every conversation is the best thing in the world.
So I remember when you was at your $150 photo shoots, and I said you need to increase your prices.
Yep.
And you fought that. Explain to the audience that you were a fighter because of fear. And we would give you information, and you would look at us like we were crazy.
I think that anyone who is transitioning from where they are to where they need to be, there's a certain level of fear. I don't care whether you're a man or woman, you got ego, you want to call it something else, this bravado, it's a lie. You scared, you worried, you scared, you nervous. And even with somebody like Dae Dallas telling me, hey, look, you should charge more money, it's like, hey, yo, back up. Back up. Hey, I got my thing. I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me how to do this. Or it's like, hey, this is working for me, and you're trying to destroy what's going on. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, Dallas is like, yes, I am. You're cheap. You're lazy. You need to do more. Dae is in the background, like, he ain't lying. These are the things you need to do.
Exactly.
And once you, if you like, to anybody who's in the audience that's scared, you should try closing your eyes and jumping. It ain't gonna never look right. It's never gonna look proper. So like when I moved from $300 to $600, it was the same confirmation. It was the same conversation. It was like, hey, look, I did it at this much, and you need to double it. And I'm like, what? I just got here. How you gonna tell me to do this thing? And then when you ascend into that arena, it's like, here's Dae. The only thing that was holding you back was you, because I was telling you about this before y'all even had this conversation. And if you can reflect and look at yourself and look at like, yo, how come I was only at $600? How come I was only at $300? How come I was only at $150? You understand it? It's you. It was you all the time. You were scared to jump from here to here. You didn't think that you were worth this much. You know what I'm saying? You didn't think that you could make this much. When I came into the audience of getting into 5-figure jobs, it was like, Jesus Christ, I felt like I was cheating someone, like I was stealing money or something. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't believe in the value of myself. And as you stop being scared, then everything starts to come through even more easy.
What's interesting about your journey that I remember was I kept telling you, I'm like a couple of months ahead of you as far as time go. And I'm like, listen, I had to do the same thing too. I was at $75.
Hey y'all, look at me. I thought he was a fucking liar. You're lying.
Was at $75.
Hey, look. Not only was that, I feel like you're lying. Like, don't talk to me like that.
Yes, he was.
Hey, look, I feel like he had a cape on. Like this is Dae. Yes, my son, and you too one day shall achieve. Like, bruh. Hey, look, I'm a grown-ass man. If I ain't gonna make it, just tell me I ain't gonna make it. That's how it felt. That's what it felt like.
I continuously told you, like, yo, I just was at 75.
We both did.
I had to increase to 150. Now I'm at 300, and it was like I was going up these $150 increments, and then one day that shit was like, man, I'm working hard. And I remember having a conversation with Dallas, and he was like, what do you want? And I told him the price. He was like, what you're going to do is worth a lot more than that. And so he started making me charge the rate of the studio. Like, at least pay your bills. If you're going to do that, at least pay your bills. And he started jumping stuff and upping stuff. And I was like, oh, wow. So when you was going through it, I was going through it too. That's why I kept saying, yo, we're the same. I don't understand why you keep looking at me like that. We the same.
You know what changes back then and now? And I think that anybody else who has fear, what they need to take a look at, the work. So once y'all start saying, hey, you need to practice.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to work. Hey, you need to create. You need to do something for self as well as doing stuff for other. Hey, look, let's just push away the money and work on the craft. And once you build up from where you were to where you are now, yeah, when you come back to the table in business, you can look at like these numbers and be like, oh no, Oh no, you know what I'm saying? Like it reminded me of Kanye West. He said, "What you know about doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers?" Now, after you do 5 beats a day for 3 summers, you come back and look at those numbers. Like, no, buddy, you're gonna have to pick that up because not only did I do a lot, I'm still doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? You're here now because you like what I'm doing, and it comes from years of work. I think the best joke I ever heard was this. They said, this guy came to this designer, and he said, "Hey, I need you to make something for me." And he said, "Okay, cool. It's going to be $500." So the guy said, "Cool." And the designer turned around, and in 10 minutes, he was like, "Here you go." And the client was like, "Why would I pay you $500 that took you for something that took you 10 minutes?" And the designer said, "You didn't pay for the fact that it took me 10 minutes. You're paying for the fact that it took me 10 years to learn how to do it in 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But you can only learn that. You can't believe that. And you can only learn that until you do the work. You have to do the work. You know what I'm saying? And we can talk about that too, because that hurt my feelings too. This Sir, he used to call me lazy all the time.
Explain to us how that happened.
So when I was learning how to create, build a team, create a story, when I was learning how to balance light, when I was learning how to measure light, when I was learning how to retouch, when I was learning how to do all these things, for me, to get one out of the way was hell. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 kids. I'm married. And here I am trying to put this photography thing together. So I get to the point where I'm bumping out like 2 a month. I'm like, yeah, I got 2 a month. That's awesome. It's awesome. Here in the background, I got like Dallas. Look, I'm doing 2 photography, I'm doing 2 sessions a month in regards to my own craft. I'm working on myself. I'm pretty proud of this. What do you think? He was like, do you really want to know how I think? What I think? This is before permission to be real. Do you really want to know what I think? I'm like, yeah, I want to know what you think. He's like, I think you're fucking lazy. It was days like that where I was just like, you know what, Dallas, I'm going to call you back. I'm going to get off this phone. Punch me
because
in my
it was
nose.
like, I'm doing 2 photo shoots a month. I'm like, you need to be doing 2 photo shoots a day.
Yes, I remember. And I remember.
And now you're up to sometimes 3 a day.
Yeah.
So now that you got that information, what changed in you that you went from, or what was the lesson for you that you went from 2 photo shoots a month and you're thinking you're doing something to now you're doing 3 photo shoots a day sometimes and you're like, I'm not doing enough?
Oh, my journey. If your life is a video game, every time you do something, there's an uptick. There's an uptick. So as I worked on my craft, my images got better. Because my images got better, it worked on my insecurity. Okay, I want more out of life than that. As I learned to study, you know what I'm saying, me and Dae go through the catacombs of actual art, feeling, promoting emotion, learning how to telegraph certain things. That was amazing. And then when we come out of the halls of all that art stuff, we come back over here and start working from a business mindset. And because our artwork looks so good, now we're making money together now at a certain clip. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Now what happens is, because I was daring enough to be afraid and work on my art, and I was daring enough to even in being afraid work on my business, it brings down my insecurities. Because as an artist, you're always like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I'm worth that money. And then as you do all of this other stuff and you do all these other practices, that comes lower and lower and lower. And after a while, you go from peeking out the door to walking to jogging to running. It's like you're running. It's like, oh, let's see how far I can go. Let's see how great this story can be. Because you begin to understand after so long of being scared that the only thing that's holding you back is you. Yeah, Dad, you get that one. Yeah, let me give you your flowers. Hey, listen, Dad used to talk in code also. This 6 years ago, they would be like, "Hey, listen, man. The only problem is that you're in your own way." I'm like, "What the hell are you saying to me? What does that mean?" Yeah, to everybody. If you're not getting to a certain point, you want to be somewhere. If you're looking at somebody, you're like, "I want to be just like that." Hey, look, 7 times out of 10, it's you that's in your way, and regardless of your issues, either. You can have issues and problems and still achieve to be better and do better things, but you got to do it and not be afraid. Or even while you're afraid, do it. Do it in the field.
I agree.
I have a question for you. Hold on. You got to do it.
He's writing stuff down.
Even if you're afraid.
I'm taking my notes, man.
I'm taking my notes. I'm going to talk about something funny now. I'm not funny, haha, but when you came to Light is Light, we got you up to between $300 and $600, and you were fighting that. 1 week after you left Light is Light, you went from $300 to 5-figure numbers within about a week.
Oh.
Think about it. So imagine going from $300 to like $20,000. That's what you did.
Yeah.
You jumped from one point to the next. Tell us that story and how did it make you feel?
It was the class. It was like this. They would say, "Hey, yo, you can do this and you can do that and you should do this and you should do that." And then everything is good in conversation. You're on the phone, everybody bumping their gums, and you know what I'm saying? You 9 times out of 10, you listen to somebody, you're not what you want to be. Somebody is telling you how you need to be. And the person that's not anybody is like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good and all, but I ain't there yet." Okay, cool. When the class came, I asked Dae, I said, "Dae, I need you to do me a favor." He said, "What?" I said, "Please, can I be part of one of your shoots?"
I remember that. And
Dae's response was, he laughed. Not only did he laugh, he was like, "You're going to be so disappointed." And now that we're here, the reason why I was disappointed is because everything that he said, everything we've been talking about for over the last year was exactly what he said. But once again, when you scared, you know what I'm saying, you ain't making those moves. You ain't making those moves. So when I went to the class, I was able to see it. Mm-hmm. I was able to see it. If we talked about all the conversations that we talked about in Light, I was able to see. From when I shot with Dae to when we was in the class and we shot with what's the black guy name? Faison. When we shot with Faison, when you showed the difference in between strobe light and actual constant light, when we put the REs on his body, even down to speculations when we talk reflections when it came
specular highlights, right?
Yeah, specular highlights, putting the ponds on the chest to accentuate the hills and valleys, or for those in the chat, the muscles. You know what I'm saying? So these are all things that we would hit on and talk about, and these were examples in my head where I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, but I can't do that because I ain't ready for that yet." And we were actually sitting there doing it. So since I would come to a 3-day class,
mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there for 3 days. I'm sitting here.
You had 3 days.
You had 3 days.
You had 3 days.
You had 3 days.
Oh yeah,
Tisha had 3 days.
Remember that gift of Jesus walking out that door?
But remember when your first interaction with me was not even Light is Light. Remember, I had the workshop in Chicago.
Yes.
And you came to chill out with us.
Oh yeah, that was another head buster. Hey, to all the photographers in the room, please, please, please get a light meter. You can shoot without a light meter. You can shoot without a light meter. Please get a light meter. Here's the story. Story time. I'm talking to Dallas, and we were actually talking about the light meter. And he was like, "Hey, yo, you need to get a light meter." And I'm like, "Okay, let me go look this up. This thing costs $350. Why?" And Dallas is like, "Don't worry about it. I'll show you. Matter of fact, you know what? We about to be there. You know what I'm saying? This weekend we'll be there. Come see." Now in my head, I'm looking like, I ain't spending $350. I can figure that shit out. I can get the light right. Yeah, light is light. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I get there. Dae is there. We shake up. What's up? He go grab the light. He grabbed the reflector. He twists the light. And all I'm seeing is pop, 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 pop. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but okay, I'm going to sit here and watch this. I don't understand what's going on, but that's cool. And then after they did all this setup, they start shooting. And they're tethering in everything that they shot. Perfect. They switched to another person. Perfect. And all I can think of is every time I would shoot, how it would take me so long to configure that light, how it would take me so long to get a certain thing right. It would take me so long to get a same. Even when I did that, sometimes it'd be too much shadow, or sometimes it'd be blue out. Every picture he took was damn near ready. You know what I'm saying? So when he finished, I was just like, okay, cool. I need to take you guys to dinner, and I'll meet you there. But you know, before I get there,
I'll get this light meter.
yeah, about this light meter. How much that was? It $350? Okay, I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
I remember because we was doing we was talking to you every day, and then when we came to Chicago, it was like, all right, cool, come to the shoot,
come hang out,
yeah,
right?
Come hang out so you can see how it is.
Now I never do that. I don't have people ever. I don't know come to my shoots because you don't know if they're crazy.
Yeah, much appreciated.
I remember when we had mad fun. It was mad cool.
And you saw a very simple light setup.
I remember you kept looking like, because you had a shoot, and we kept telling you to do the 2-light setup, and you added a third light. It was like, we're going to show you when we get to Chicago. And we showed you, you looked at, like, this is
the light, this is it.
This it. And we kept
yeah. I was like, this is rinky dinky. You're not going to get nothing from this. Like they're shooting students, and it looked like something out of Estee Lauder. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, it made me look at the camera, and when you don't know no better, you know, you go through your lines. They cheating. They got a filter. It's the camera. You know what I'm saying? It's the lights. It's this and that. It's nah.
So let's fast forward. You came to my workshop. You had your workshop. You watched they shoot, and then the company you wanted to shoot for presented itself.
Absolutely.
Tell us how much money you wanted, and why, and how much money you got.
So back to not being ready. I was like, hey, Dallas, can you help me out with this? Dallas is like, I got you. I quarterback this thing for you. I'm like, okay, cool. Dallas says, how much do you want? In my head, I'm like, I'm going to work for this big company. I mean, the least that they can give me is $2,000. So Dallas, can you set this up for me so I can get $2,000? Dallas says, tell him.
No. It's your story.
All right, fine. So I tell Dallas I want $2,000 for the project. He scoffs. I'll be back. He comes back later on in the day, and he's like, listen, I'm going to send you some paperwork, okay? He sent me the paperwork. Yo, the project was for like $13,000.
That's where we started.
I called him back on the phone. Dallas is like, now, if you want to, you can take your $2,000 and give me the rest of that. You know what I'm saying? These are just numbers, you know. But for me, that was a head buster. I didn't understand. Once again, at that point, I was just trying to work on my craft. I didn't understand.
I don't think it was 13.
No, it was 18.
It was 18.
It was 18.
Oh yeah, you know what it was?
Because it was a multi-day shoot. It was 18.
It was 18.
If it went to 18,
Yeah,
and then
so think about it.
At the end of the shoot.
But think about it. Friday, you were making $300. Monday, you were making $18,000.
But wait, it went up.
Let him finish the story.
What else?
It raised. That's all I remember. I remember it was like, they 18. It came into like 22, 23.
Oh yeah, that's right.
By the time it was
okay,
done.
cool. So it was 18. So we set it to shoot for 18. It was 18 on paper. And then based on the discipline, we get it to shoot, and they want to do more than what was discussed in the contract. So we have to sit there and renegotiate. It went up another $7,000.
So yeah.
And then on top of that, when we were finished, the amount of images that they selected that they wanted went outside of the parameters of the contract. So I then still made another 5 there.
That's exactly how it was, and I remember you looking at because I came out to Chicago to make sure that everything was smooth, and I remember you shooting, and you was like, "Damn, this shit look good." I was like, "You shooting it? Like you killing it?" And I remember you just had this whole thing of, "Wow, I hope they like it. I hope they like it." I'm like, they like it. They call it
Yeah,
like
the whole show and theater of shooting, you know what I'm saying? The whole working on yourself until you become like it for me, it takes something to become into yourself. So for me, it was like, oh look, these are huge, ridiculous numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And that it takes somebody like you in Dallas to say, no, this is your worth. This is what your worth look like. And it's funny because, you know, all your regular people are telling you, nobody is in your camp, especially as a black photographer, is going to tell you, oh, yeah, baby, you're going to be great. This is going to be great. This is a great idea. You should do this. This is going, you know, no.
Even your wife and father didn't believe you.
Yeah.
Right. Even my daddy was like, hey, listen, man, I understand you're going to do this photography thing. Just make sure you got a plan B. Be a real man. Go get you a real job, you know? So every once in a while, I go to my daddy and show him my checks. Like, daddy, am I a man? Is this being a man?
Is this man enough? And not that. So I know when you first did this, you thought, well, this is a fluke. I did this one time. Then you got $300, and we had to beat that shit out of you.
Yep.
And then it happened again.
And then they hired you again.
And then they hired you again.
And then another company.
And then another company hired you again.
And those numbers just were your numbers.
And that's what turns you into a monster. Because, like, if it would have just happened once, I could keep that in the back of my head.
You could throw that in my face, right?
Right. It's just like the fear thing. It's like, what'd you say?
You could have threw it in my face if it only happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
One time.
It'll be like, you were lucky. You were lucky. That happened one time. That's it. And Dallas said this, and it only happened one time. Yeah, right. See, look, you're not worth it. Bop, 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 all that good stuff. But then when it happened again, it's like, okay, we can't call this luck. Okay, maybe we can call this luck. But, you know, and then when it happened a third time, it's like, all right, fine. We now have to sit down and look at what's going on. This is real. It's something real. So
it was. I just your whole progression was so dope.
It was meteoric. That's the best things I can give you.
It was so dope. I just remember you just transforming, and the more and more you shot.
The more you shot, the less you fought us.
Yes, the less you fought us, the better your work got. The more people started to reach out to you. It was just like, go ahead, go fly, go kill it. It was incredible.
After you do so much work, your mind is going to tell you to shut up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh look, they could be lying. Oh wait, this is a New York and LA thing. This isn't the Chicago thing. And it's like the other side is like, shut up. Look at what you've done. Mm-hmm. Look at where you rest your head. Look at how you are. Look, this is all photography. This is, and like when the numbers come and the art come and everything start working, you start looking at what's going on. It's like, no, you can't feel like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I'm not even scared of aging. You know what I'm saying? Age has nothing to do with this sport here. You know what I'm saying? As long as you continue to dig in yourself and show the world what you have to show them and become who you are, it don't matter. And unfortunately, you know, people don't look at the greats. But if you look at some of the greats, they are old as shit.
Yes, they are. So what is the biggest lesson that you've got from this amazing journey? Because, Charan, we moved with you from 2 apartments into a house. Mm-hmm. So if it can't get any more real than that, you got a house based on fucking photography.
Yes,
buddy.
So what was the biggest lesson that you've gotten in this journey? Because you've known us about, what, 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
You've known us about 6 years. So what has been your biggest lesson?
I think the most dopest lesson I could have ever learned, to the point where I have to turn it off now so I can go get my own studio, is to tuck your head and shut the fuck up. How about that? How about that? Listen. Listen.
I used to put up, look, whenever we talk, I used to put up this Beyonce, this gift.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, listen.
Hey, look. Hey, yo, you would post that gift so much, I could hear it when I was see it.
Listen, I promise you, because you know what it is? In my mind, I kept saying, yo, you could do it. Just listen. It's there. The information's there. It's all there. Listen.
And we're not lying to you, because I know your biggest lesson was trying to catch us in a lie.
That was a thing.
Yes.
At a certain point in time, you know.
I still think you're that way. You're gonna catch us one day.
Hey, look, you heard it at the so and so. I had to tell them the information that I now understand. Like, hey, look, just take the L, just take the L. But like to the photographers in the live right now, hey, look, don't do that thing. If you don't know, just don't know. Don't try to know to have what's that V word we was just talking about?
Validation.
Yeah, don't fight for validation in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like if your mentor is telling you, hey, look, you need to do A, B, and C. Don't be that guy. Don't be me. Don't be like, well, what about V though? You know, there's a V. And if you do, I hope you get a Dallas, which is, yeah, there's also a whole lot of letters in the fucking alphabet. You know? But yeah, listening is the grandest piece of advice I could have ever received, and it was hard for me to learn. It was hard. It's hard. Like, you have nothing, you are nothing, but you still have ego, and your ego will take you on whatever ride you let that thing take you. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of yourself. I even had friends that would tell me, I was like, yo, my mentor said, and they would scoff. You hear this dude? this weak man called another man his mentor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And today, it's like, hey, how you doing over there? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Have your doubting Thomas friends now say to you, well, what did your mentor say?
All right, cool. Now, I'll be honest with you. Wait, say it again.
Question. You know how somebody was like, you kept coming to us and you said, my mentors, and people would shit on it.
Yeah.
Did it change and they ask you, well, what did your mentor say now?
Yeah. Some of them, I only have a handful of people who I call them real people that will literally say, all right, fine. I take the L. I was wrong. And hopefully you can say something that might rub off into my life. You know what I'm saying?
Because remember, everything we were teaching you, they kept saying, well, that's in New York. That's in New York.
Yeah.
It's different over here.
So you got two words. You got two versions of reaction now of them. The one that I had, I don't even remember one of them. The one that bothers me. The one that bothers me is this. They come back now. Now, if I say something like, oh, my mentor said, they're like, yeah, man. Yeah, like I said all the time. You make me want to kick you in your throat. You didn't say nothing. You didn't say nothing. You can't contribute to this now. You can't be a part of this.
Because they believe, I believe you could do it.
Yeah, I always knew you could do it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And it's okay. It's okay. Hey, look, if you didn't believe back then, that's cool. If you believe now, that's cool. What's not cool is to say back then you believe. Oh yeah, man. Charan, I always knew. No, you didn't. You did. It's cool.
Because I remember we was having these conversations and they were in your ear and it was like, he's sabotaging you. Don't listen to them.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember all those conversations?
Lord.
That's actually the next most powerful thing I learned. Shit, I had to teach myself. Well, actually, no, I got to give Dae that credit again. This Dae again. Because I would say, like, Dae would tell me stuff, and then you would say something, and I would fight you, and then you would stop talking, and I'll talk to Dae, and I'm like, Dae, well, such and such told me, blah, 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 blah. Dae was like, stop listening to them other people. Mm-hmm. What that turned into was, for you to properly learn and develop yourself, you have to make a tight-knit circle. Mm-hmm. If this is your circle of friends, you need to make a circle like this.
You need nothing but support in that circle too. You need nothing but support and people who
believe in you,
who believe in
you, guide you the right way.
Yeah.
And sometimes the support has to be your circle has to be very small, because everybody else is not going to believe in you. And then you have people who want to who have egos. The ego will destroy you. You have people who I'm not naming no names. I know some people who will hear me talking about y'all, and then they would thwart your information and attempt to insert their own information. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, I understand what Dae says. I understand what Dallas says, and that's cool. But listen, like I always said, which you never did because we never had a conversation like this, but like I always said, you should do A, B, and C. You don't have to do E and D like they were talking about. You can do A, B, and C and try to take ownership over that whole thing. And for me, learning, I'm like, okay, cool. You're not somebody to have this conversation with. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think your progression is I don't know. It's incredible to me to see how you move, how you shoot, feeling insulted because Dallas said you shoot the hell out of kids.
Oh man.
And to being like
a premier children's photographer. So you're covering, think about this, Charan. You're covering beauty.
Yep.
You're covering fashion.
And
you're covering children.
Yeah.
You have one over both of us.
Yeah.
So think
so it was one of the things of you I don't know. It was
tell us your children's story.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us this one and how you made me feel like shit. How about that?
All right, cool. So I had to shoot some kids for a project. And when I first started photography, what I would do is I would shoot my daughter. My daughter was my model. My daughter was my practice. And then when we had our son, my son is autistic. So learning how to shoot an autistic kid, you have to be very patient. Very patient. I didn't think none of it because it was my boy. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, this is something I had to do. But when it came to me actually doing like a paid project for shooting kids, I had to shoot this kid. Now, I shot him effortlessly. Now, I would hear through the whole industry, if you listen to a photographer, first thing they say is, oh man, I hate shooting kids. Everybody don't like shooting kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't like shooting kids. Kids are not for me. Now, I shot this kid like we had a good time. I engaged the kid. I was able to go back and forth and create a good chemistry. And I got these awesome images. So I took him and I showed him to Dallas. And when I showed him to Dallas, Dallas was like, this is amazing. This is very good work. And the way he said, I was so insecure at the time that when he said that, I'm like, so you saying?
I said, I wish I could shoot kids like this. Because if I did, I would never shoot a model again.
Yeah.
That's
and what I heard was, you suck at everything else but this. Yeah, you should stay right here. I'm like, excuse me? What are you saying?
I mean, you got angry with me about that.
I remember.
Yeah.
You hung up the phone on me angry.
All right, cool.
All right, cool. It's like,
it was like, what did you say?
I was insulted.
Like, what was said? Like, what was going on? So then later on, a couple of days later, I remember us talking about it. And he was like, let me ask you a question. Are you saying that my beauty work sucked? It was like, what the fuck said that?
and that's when we learned how you listen.
Yeah, and it was like you made us understand how other people listen.
Because that was more often than not. Yeah. It was what we said versus what was heard.
Yeah, it was like, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah, hey, look, and that really leads to my third gold nugget, which is ask a question. You guys couldn't imagine how many times I took what they said the wrong way. And what happens most common in relationships is you have people that you talk to, and don't let that person that you talk to be somebody that you look up to. And they say something to you and you misinterpret it and you take the option to feel. You should not do that. Before you feel, please put something in between that step. Ask a question. Ask a question. So when he said that, I was done. And I can't believe this dude said, well, you know what, I'm trying to do beauty and do this other photography. He's gonna talk about my kid work like that. What's going on? And before I can go off, I got off the phone and thought about it and was just like, you know what, let me get some verification to my fuse before I blow up. How about that? So when I came back and I was like, yo, are you saying that I suck in photography and I should only do kids? And he was like, no. Where did you get that from? And then I felt like shit.
So now you're here, and now you're starting to mentor. How does that feel? How do you like that responsibility?
Yes. The process of teaching gives me an extra pad in what I like to call having kid gloves. I am careful when I teach because I understand that the person that I'm talking to doesn't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting because sometimes you have to like take care of that person that don't understand. But still, just like Dallas, sometimes you're not really supposed to give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, you got to learn how to do this and it don't really matter how you feel some type of way. Okay, that's cool. Well, feel some type of way and get it done. You know what I'm saying? But there are certain times where, you know, a student will get lost in the sauce. They'll literally get lost in the sauce in the process of trying to learn. And like I said, they'll take something that you say personal, and that's not what you mean at all. So yeah, it gives me, you know, kid gloves.
Next question, which you give everybody: 3 adjectives that describe Charan and why.
As much as I watch these, I still don't have an answer. but no. I got one.
One is good.
Determined. In my head, when I wasn't where I am now, to where I am now, to where I'm going, I always says to myself, I will be. I will be. I am determined to be. Now, what I'm going to be, because of that story that we just told, I can't give you that label. Like, perfect example. Never knew that I was going to be a kid photographer. Never knew that agencies was going to love the work that I did for children. You know, I didn't know that that was a thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I know because of y'all, when your journey turns into a certain direction, you shouldn't fight against it, because that's not what you personally perceive you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? You open that door, you walk through it, and you see where it takes you. So with that said, as I open these doors and walk through life, I will be.
That is wonderful. So now for the gearheads, what's in your bag?
Oh, none of your business is personal. I have a Nikon D780 because I just dropped my D750 because I didn't listen to my teachers and put a strap on my camera.
or what's the other lesson?
Or put it on the floor. Okay, yeah.
Out of fall.
Yeah, I didn't put it on the floor. So yeah, I have a D780. I have 85 millimeter prime, and I have a 50 millimeter prime, that young nifty 50, and then I have a 17 to 35.
Dope. Yep. And lighting wise,
what is your favorite
light?
Well, we come from the house of pro photo. Hey, wait. I never forget talking to Aerosign. And he was like, I was like, yo, I'm trying to think about what type of lights to get. You know, I asked Dallas, and Dallas said do research. And the Aerosign did that thing. Oh, man, it don't matter what you talking about. You can get whatever type of lights you want. These lights don't matter. I said, Aerosign, what type of lights you got? He said, I got pro photo. I said, He said, yeah, but it don't matter, man. I can shoot with anything. I can do this with anything. Is that what you feel? How you feel? He said, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I said, cool, let me buy yours then. He like, what you say?
You could buy anything. You could do anything.
Right.
Exactly.
Hey, look, how about I get some alien bees and I give you these brand new alien bees and you give me your photos?
But you learned it, but at one point you did learn it didn't matter.
Yeah. No, yeah. I did what you did to me. Oh, it's so disrespectful. Okay, fellas, one more story for the road. Story time. So I had Calumet travel lights, and I had my Nikon, I think like a 7100, some shit like that. And I was in the process of growing and getting light right, and yeah. And you guys got to understand something too. If you get the book, if you get some advice, that still doesn't mean that you can go into the studio and execute. You know what I'm saying? It takes time to learn proper execution. So for me, I'm looking at the book. I heard what Dae had to tell me. I still can't get it. And Dallas was just like, yo, man, you gonna get it. It's gonna be all right. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I ain't got all that money. I ain't making money like you. I ain't got no equipment like you, this, and that. And Dallas was like, oh, that's how you feel? I said, yeah, that's how I feel. Now, I'm confident. I'm like, I'm seeing him with all these lights and this beautiful camera and all this other shit. And he like, listen, that's how you feel? You know what? We just happen to be coming to Chicago. I'm still strong. I'm like, say word. Yeah. Come over here and shoot this raggedy shit, and then you can understand why I can't be like how you are. Man, he came to my studio, used my camera and my lights, and took some amazing photos. It was the most disrespectful thing I ever experienced in my life. I was just like, oh my God. And then he turned around and looked at me like, do you understand now? I'm like, no, I don't.
Oh, Charan, we got to bring this to an end before Instagram cuts us off. We want so much for this interview, and I'm glad that people got to see the magic of Charan like we know you. And before we go, give us a 3-second smile. You ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Also, tell them where they can reach you. Give them your website information and any contact information.
Oh, man.
Before we lose them.
www.charaningram.com. My IG is Charan Ingram. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's all they need. We love you, and we'll see you in Clubhouse tonight.
Love y'all too, man. I'll see y'all tonight.
Bye.
See you.